You're watching America Trends. I'm Mary Burt-Godwin. I'm very excited to speak to our next guest. Her name is Katrina Foe. She is a board-certified holistic nutritionist, here to talk about ways to prevent and fight cancer and probably other illnesses with changes in our lifestyle, changes in the way we eat, and I believe everyone needs to tune in to this subject. So Katrina, welcome to America Trends.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm thrilled that you're joining us today. Where are you zooming in from?
I'm up in Idaho, actually.
Okay, well, so tell me about, so I was reading a little bit about you. You yourself were diagnosed with cancer, and how long ago, if you don't mind me asking?
No, that was over 8 years ago. Absolutely.
Okay, and were you a nutritionist at the time, or did you get into this world after being diagnosed?
No, the whole process of addressing everything naturally just consumed me, and the whole curiosity was opened up to have me go back to school and just get the word out there that there's things that you can do, not only to prevent, but to reverse this.
And so if you don't mind me asking, what cancer were you diagnosed with?
Yeah, I had breast cancer.
Okay, and so, which I'm so happy that you fought it and you're cancer-free today, is that right?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Awesome. So, you know, this is something I hear a lot about, and in my age bracket, a lot of my friends, I have 2 friends with breast cancer at this time, and my friends and or, you know, their parents, our parents are getting cancer, and it's something I'm hearing more and more about. So there's 2 things. One is, you know, choosing a healthier lifestyle to prevent getting it in the first place, and then also what are the pivots we can make if and when we do get a diagnosis. So what are some of the, in your research, and your studies, what are some of the most common causes of cancer? Is it food driven? Is it lifestyle driven? What are the things you're seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. There's 10 areas that we've identified that can be drivers for clients and to get cancer. And with that, you know, everyone's looking for the one thing. It's not one thing, and each person is very bio-individual of which of these things. So usually with cancer clients, there's 6 to 8 of these things. So that's where we have this amazing ability to dial in, looking at these ahead of time to prevent the perfect storm of all of these things together contributing to overwhelm the immune system, because we have natural ways in our immune system where our body is supposed to be addressing these. And when it gets overwhelmed, then that's when we get into a problem. So the biggest thing that I see, especially with breast cancer, is metabolic, hormone, toxins, and, you know, emotional stress components. These are big things that are driving the cancer that people really aren't looking at.
So let's break some of those down. I mean, you know, mentioned toxins and, you know, let's say smoking and alcohol, sugar. Those are kind of the 3 main things that pop into my mind that people can and probably should eliminate in this journey. What are some of the other things that you're seeing that people should be mindful of?
There's a lot of toxins out there, and we're getting bombarded with toxins that we don't even know about, not even aware, in our air, our soil, our drinking water. And these are the things that I'm usually seeing. Most of my clients, they come in, they're very educated. They're doing all the right stuff. They're eating clean. They're eating organic. That's not the issue. There's things that they don't know about. One of the biggest ones, which was a huge contributor for myself, is mold. And there's mold is so ubiquitous, especially with the HVAC systems and the drywall that we have nowadays. And people aren't testing for it. People aren't talking about it. And I'm telling you, in all the testing, because all of my cancer clients, I test for mold. First off, I've only found 1 person that didn't have high levels of mold.
And where do you do the testing? In their body?
We test their body. So if they have the mold spores, they will excrete what's called mycotoxins, and as the client pees them out, we catch them and can see which spores are in them, and therefore what's going on with them.
And so you were mentioning drywall, so it's coming from our homes and where we're living, our environments.
Yeah, usually it's a water damage in the home. Again, whether it's involving the air conditioning system. So I have quite a few clients in Phoenix where, you know, it's really dry there. This is not limited to just, you know, very humid areas and such. But water damage under the sink, with pipes and such, that's a big cause as well.
So that's an interesting point, because I've really thought about more eating and drinking and those kinds of things, but your living environment, are there other things in our living environment that we might need to be paying attention to?
Absolutely. The hormone disruptors, those endocrine system disruptors in all our plastics, so yes, get away from the BPA, but get away from all the other BPs as well. Using more glass, stainless steel, not the Teflon, even the receipts. The receipts that they hand you at the grocery store are coated with endocrine disruptors. So just touching them can, especially if you're working in that environment where you're touching them all day long, can throw your hormones off. These are all over and around us. And that's why we want to test and see what are the areas, which toxins are bothering you the most, and then make a concerted effort there.
So there are ways to, okay, there are a couple of different things too, because a lot of people I know are doing 23andMe and those kinds of things to find out what markers they might be genetically predisposed, what's the word I want to say? Disposed to. And then, so do you recommend doing that, doing some of this testing to find out what might be already in your family and your history and in your body already? And then what are some of the tests you can take?
Absolutely. The tests that I use are a little bit more specific and dialed in. They're looking at what's called the low penetrance genes. And these are the ones that are most modifiable with diet and lifestyle changes. So these are the things that you can do something about. And this is really important so that, you do this test one time, you see what's going on with your body specifically, and you can find out things. So like, for example, a lot of cancer clients have what's called a slow COMT SNP. And this means that they kind of don't get rid of their hormones quite as well as they should, and it sets them up for hormone issues with, estrogen dominance and such. So it may not be that, you just need to be looking at your hormones or taking hormones. It may mean that you need to clear them better. And there's things you can do for diet and lifestyle. And then that this is an issue ongoing that you need to keep your eye on, which is huge.
Yeah. I mean, on one hand, part of it's, I was talking to my sister the other day who had breast cancer, and she was like talking to her daughters who were going to maybe get the, the test to see if they had the gene and the markers. And there was this conversation of, do we want to know, or do we just want to live our life and not be worried and then deal with it when it comes? But there's kind of two different thoughts there, right? Because one is just being preventative and knowing, hey, this might happen, so why not change the things we can change, right?
Absolutely. And with genetic testing, I'm not talking about the BRCA gene, which is nice to know if you have it, but that's really more about detox. And it has nothing to do with like you should lop your breasts off. It just means that you need to take more action to dig into what else is bothering me, because you might be a little more sensitive to these things and more likely to have issues go wrong. But, taking your breast off does not fix the problem. The problem is going to be the hormones, the metabolism, the toxins and such, which having the majority of the breast tissue gone doesn't change.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. And really, it's not just cancer, probably. It's other diseases that we could potentially get. I mean, diabetes and other things are coming into my mind. Now, talk to me about not just food and our living environment, but also our activities. And I think you have a book out, Nutritional Pilates.
Yeah. Before I had cancer, I still am a Pilates teacher trainer. I have a Pilates studio out in Scottsdale. And looking at the entire body to make sure that the muscles are balanced is very important to prevent joint pain and injuries and such. So I'm combining that with the diet to look at the entire body and how those hormones are then going to affect the joints and such, because it's all one piece together.
And so does that help inflammation? Because I know one of the big things is helping the body detox and reduce inflammation are two things that we should really be thinking about. So Pilates is one of those ways, and things that we eat, right?
And that's the tying in theme, is that with Pilates and looking at the diet together, you've got like the 1-2 punch of dealing with the inflammation, which is really going to be helpful when you're talking about long-term chronic disease prevention. Like you said, Alzheimer's, heart disease, cancer, all of those are going to be driven by all these inflammation and such. but it's also for the symptoms that you're having right now. So those stubborn pounds that won't go away, they a lot of times have to do with inflammation and toxins, as well as the joint pain. And those are the things that motivate people to do something today, which is why I want to talk about those as well.
Okay, so people can find you, Katrina, can they, at Katrina Foe on Instagram, right? Can people hire you then to help find these methodologies of getting rid of the toxins?
Absolutely, yes. My team and I work, that's what we do.
Okay, awesome. So they can find you at Katrina Foe on Instagram, Katrina Foe, board certified holistic nutritionist, and check out her book, Nutritional Pilates. I think we all could take some lessons here. Thank you so much for joining us, Katrina. And we have lots more America Trends right after this quick break.